we got a package from Rancho Cucamonga. Let's see what's in it. If you've been around, you know Kiwi and their battery head strap for the Quest 3, I have not been in love with because of the fact that it likes to drain the Quest out after the fact. Well, they emailed me a few weeks ago maybe, and they said they're coming out with new products to address any issues that were there with previous products, although I don't know for sure that these are the ones that are gonna do that. So this is a new version of their Comfort strap, but without the battery. And I'm guessing by the size of this box, this has gotta be a facial interface. Let's see. All right, we have one Kiwi facial interface. Very, very simple. Maybe they were going for weight savings on this or something, because it just seems so simple. I guess we'll start with pounds and ounces for the US folk. 2.5 ounces. I do my measuring in grams for some weird reason, so 71 grams. It is pretty light for a facial interface. It's got vents, top and bottom, so this is probably their fitness facial interface. It's got pleather padding that shouldn't soak up water. It's got a pretty big light guard, although depending on your nose shape, it might work, but for me, like, it just lifts up and then you can completely see right through there. So that's not gonna do much for us. Luckily, I have one that doesn't even have a facial interface on it right now. I'll say it snaps in nicely. I do appreciate that. Looks nice, it fits nicely with a halo strap. Got a little Kiwi design on top. I don't know the price on this yet, but it's just the most simple facial interface. Besides the nose, there's like no light bleed, but the nose is significant. I mean, it's enough where I would almost say you could take the nose guard off. Depending on your nose shape, again, this won't match with everybody. I feel like I could take the nose guard off and it wouldn't be any different. The padding is very thick and cushy. Feels like it's memory foam. It's so thick and the pleather is loose enough though that what it does is you can kind of feel this rolling up and down as you push it on your face. It's not a bad thing inherently, but just sometimes if you tried a lot of facial interface, you'll notice some of them are nice and tight and they always stay in place. And then some of them they do this like rolling number. It's almost like how a tank track rolls. You feel it like doing that up and down your face. It just kind of ends up meaning you need your head strap to really be doing the work holding your headset in place because you can't rely on the facial interface as much, which is more of a worry with elite straps actually like this one, because it means you have to tighten it down further. Otherwise the headset kind of wants to move on that track up and down. The vents don't seem to bleed any light, which is really good because we have a lot of lights in here. So let's check out this head strap while we're here. I'm not convinced that this is any different than the last one. Maybe they just tried to go for like the lightest things ever, because actually this head strap feels incredibly light. It does look like a redesign, so I can tell you right here, see how these things are at like such an angle? In the old one, they like went straight down and in. So maybe that's a new design that helps push the weight out instead of in one direction where maybe they'd be a little more likely to break. Same kind of padding in here. It's nice thick memory foam, but you do have that same kind of effect where the pleather is loose. Like I can pinch a good amount of pleather even above the padding. So you get a little bit of that tank track effect I'm talking about. I don't think I've ever called it that. I don't know that I've really talked about that effect a whole lot in videos, but that's gonna be the new thing I call it from now on. So if you hear me talking about the tank track effect and you missed this video, well, you may not have any clue what I'm talking about. Snaps in there solid. That's kind of something Kiwi's known for. That doesn't really surprise me. One thing I do always appreciate about the Kiwi straps is they do feel solid. I mean, you got that. The upward function no longer locks though, because it used to like lock up and down. Now it's just loose. Slip you in there. Got a lot of memory foam padding everywhere to kind of make up for the fact that not all head shapes are the same and they have to do their best to make this accommodate anyone who's gonna use it. But it's pretty much touching me everywhere it should be. There's not much pressure here in the sides, which I get that with a lot of facial interfaces, but it's still enough that there's no light bleed. It's pushing in with the top strap now. You got the top memory foam pad, the back. I mean, for a Kiwi setup, this feels good. There's no battery though. Obviously, batteries in the Quest 3 I think are really necessary, but this seems like they're just trying to go for like a really simple, easy design, lightweight. I mean, you're talking a grand sum total, Quest 3, strap and facial interface, 705 grams. Just for fun, don't take this too seriously. This is a for fun measurement, but let's see what the Quest that I was rocking this weekend actually weighs. Nearly double, 1,350 grams. Although this got the huge swappable battery pack, it's got the fan, it's got a front cover on it. Also keep in mind, these did have little front covers that added a tiny bit to that weight over stock, but not much. So I mean, this is like the ultimate everything you can slap onto a Quest. But the fact that this comes in at roughly half the weight, it does make it a pretty light headset. And Kiwi said that theirs was stress tested to withstand many, many bends and impacts and stuff. And I mean, that's solid. I'm taking a while to do some game testing, play around with it, see what I think about this. I'm also gonna do a little research and find out for sure that, because they said these were updated and new, what exactly hopefully maybe their advertising is new about it or different, because outside of some very minor changes, I don't know what this head strap really is accomplishing different than the original one, because the battery was my main complaint. But we'll be back shortly with some final thoughts for you. Well, I ended up spending a month or so, a lot longer with the K4 than I wanted to, but also with the facial interface. First things first, I've got to tell you, I see where they made the K4 and the improvements to it, but there's gonna be so much confusion around this. If you search Kiwi Elite Strap, Kiwi Comfort Strap, you end up with all these different options because they've added so many, and the K4 is 40 bucks, the Comfort is 27. So I feel like most, unless you're really an insider, you really know, why wouldn't you just choose the Comfort? And why wouldn't you? Well, this one is lighter, it is a little more comfortable. The biggest thing though is the profile of it. Although this is the battery one, this is very chunky, but the original one uses the same button style turn knob, and this new turn knob is really much more low profile. Really what I see this head strap being for is sim players who use a link cable, because you've got this and like you can still lean back. If you adjust your neck pillow well, it's gonna be fine. If you're someone who doesn't have a neck pillow, this doesn't feel bad because the way it is, like when you turn your head even in a sim, it doesn't go coo, because you normally have that knob sticking out that kind of holds your head out, and then when you turn it drops in. Like this could stay completely smooth against a chair. The biggest problem with the Quest 3 is the battery life, as we've talked about so many times. So to not have it be a battery strap yet, maybe they're working on a design where it won't be so chunky and it'll still have this nice low profile design, but it feels like so much of the stuff with Kiwi in this lineup has been, you kind of need to have their other stuff. Like with this one, I'm like, okay, if you don't have a battery on it, at least if you have their charging dock, at least it'll be charging pretty much every time. So you can always pick up a ready to go Quest. But that's what this whole attachment piece is from right here, is from their specific charging dock that has it ready to go every time. It's got all the same benefits the usual Kiwi had. The notch goes up so you can pull it up as you go. The bands seem to be very flexible, like they're gonna last a long time. A reason that I kept it longer though is because I really wanted to see how this part held up right here. Because a lot of these older ones we've seen, it likes to yellow in this zone, and I thought maybe they had improved it with the Quest 3. So far we've got the same color on the new battery strap for the Quest 3 and this one, but both my original Quest 2 ones yellowed, and it depends on if they're like near the kitchen and smoke, or if the headset wear smoke or vape or something. Maybe it yellows worse, because one of them I gave to my friend and it yellows like crazy on his. So that's not a good look when you've had a nice head strap and then this part looks like it's just yellow, brittly, wanting to crack. The K4 head strap is a good elite strap. It's comfortable, it's durable, it's strong, it's light. You can lean your head back in it. If I was to do 10 days in VR again, I would use this head strap for sleeping, honestly. The way it's lower profile, and I originally ended up using one of the Kiwi straps, but what I liked about laying back also in a Kiwi strap versus like a stock strap is a stock strap, the weight of the headset pushes into your face and it pulls with the elastic, where I found with the Kiwi, these hard sidearms helped actually hold some of that weight off my face when I laid my head back. I know that's a really weird case use and most people aren't sleeping in their headsets, but for those who do, there's that. So there will be a link to the K4, but keep in mind, I think you need a battery strap more than you need a comfort strap. It can be comfortable and have a battery, but yeah. Their new facial interface, we're getting to a point where there's just a sea of facial interfaces for Quest 3, and this is as good as the rest. The vents do help if you have fogging issues. It doesn't seem to have light bleed. The thick face cushion actually helps, because for me, a lot of times this part still has light bleed right here. And with this one, it actually reaches all edges of my face just fine when I have it on. The light guard on it is actually decently good on my nose where it fits in the middle, but the problem is I can still see like right through the edge right there. So it's not a complete light blocker like some of them are that have more of the flower petal design, but it does a fine job. Me personally, I'm not gonna be using this though, because I have a custom one from Oblique that is molded directly to my face from a 3D face scan. And we've talked about this in several videos before, so I'll leave links to that in case you're interested in learning more about that one. I love it, but they're still trying to launch worldwide and it's proving to be a little harder than they thought. So right now it's mainly the US, but this one's fine. If it's on a good sale or something and that's why you're here looking at it and you're interested in a fitness facial interface that's not gonna absorb sweat, that's gonna allow some venting so that you don't get a whole bunch of fog in the headset, it does its job. So this round of Kiwis have seemed to improve, but ultimately what we're mostly here for with Kiwi is the battery strap. So I wanna see a better battery strap that doesn't drain the Quest, isn't reliant on their own charging dock, but complements the charging dock nicely. So that's what I'm waiting for on Kiwi. But what about you? Are you enjoying a Kiwi product that you have currently? They've done a lot of good stuff over the years. Their Quest 2 Kiwi grips were some of the first ones that lengthened the controller, and I love the design design on those. We were all really happy with them. Their Elite strap was always my go-to recommendation after the Bobo VR lineup. I personally think the Bobo VR Halo style that puts the weight on the crown of your head rather than on your face was superior. But if there was a person who said, oh, I like something that really holds on during fitness games, I want to feel really stable, the Kiwi was my recommendation directly after the Bobo. And it feels like we're kind of there with Quest 3, except I want them to bring out a good battery one that doesn't ever drain the headset. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. We've evolved a lot with Quest 3 accessories, but there's really a Quest 3 Lite coming out next month, and it's gonna feel like we're gonna start over again with whole different ones because it looks like they're not gonna fit again. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you once again for being here with me, and I'll see you in another reality.